गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। दोस्तों आज हम वेबिनार यूज कर रहे हैं नॉर्मल जूम की बजाय। सो यू कैन नॉट सी ईच अदर बट वी ऑल आर एट वन प्लेस। लेट मी चेक कि आप लोग सब किस किस सिटी से हैं। काइंडली राइट योर नेम ऑफ द सिटी इन द चैट बॉक्स। लाइक आई एम फ्रॉम कोलकाता। संजय जी रायपुर से हैं।
मैं गुड़गांव से हूँ।
सुनील सर गुड़गांव से हैं। हैदराबाद, नाभा, अहमदाबाद, वाह, मुंबई, कलकत्ता। हम पूरे देश से जुड़े हुए हैं एक दूसरे के साथ। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर द क्विक रिप्लाई। दोस्तों मैं आप सबका स्वागत करता हूं आज सेशन 3 में ऑफ जिज्ञासा अ डिजायर टू लर्न। मैं अजय बिल आपकी तरह मैं भी कलकत्ता से हूं। सेशन 1, यस लक्ष्मी नारायण जी, आई विल स्पीक इन इंग्लिश ऑल्सो बट आई विल गिव द टच ऑफ हिंदी टू। सेशन 1 पे हमने बात की थी हाउ टू सिलेक्ट अ फंड, how to select a fund on the basis of quantitative analysis and qualitative analysis to add in the portfolio of the client. Then in session 2, we get into the mind of the fund manager. Mr. Bond asks a lot of questions to the fund manager, how he manage the fund, how he select the sector, why a particular stock get the allocation in the fund. Now this both session help me to manage the logical mind of the investor. दोस्तों आप में से कितने लोग इस बात में बिलीव करते हैं वी हैव टू मैनेज बोथ माइंड ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर, लॉजिकल माइंड वर्सेस इमोशन माइंड। वी हैव टू क्रिएट द बैलेंस इन बोथ माइंड्स। इफ यू एग्री विद दैट राइट ब्रेन इन द चैट बॉक्स, BRAIN। इफ यू एग्री विद मी दैट वी हैव टू मैनेज बोथ साइड ऑफ द ब्रेन, then write BRAIN brain in the chat box. Thank you so much for your quick reply. A good advisor always create a balance in both side of the brain. दोस्तों इसके साथ ही when I analyze the portfolio of my clients or when I study the data of the market, I always come to know investor returns are never be the investor return. Investment returns are never be same as investor return. Can you share me the reason why this happen? जो इन्वेस्टमेंट रिटर्न जनरेट करता है इन्वेस्टर कभी भी वो रिटर्न अपने घर नहीं ले जा पाता। इन्वेस्टर नेवर एबल टू टेक द रिटर्न व्हिच इन्वेस्टमेंट एक्चुअली क्रिएट। व्हाई दिस हैपन? कैन एनीवन शेयर द रीजन इन वन और टू वर्ड? नीरव सा, इन्वेस्टर बिहेवियर, ओके। इमोशंस, इन्वेस्टर बिहेवियर एक रीजन होता है, इमोशन एक रीजन होता है। एनी मोर रीजन कैन यू फाइंड आउट? एक या दो वर्ड में ऐसा क्या कारण है कि इन्वेस्टर कभी भी इन्वेस्टमेंट रिटर्न कैप्चर नहीं कर पाता? विड्रॉल्स, चार्जेस, ओके, ग्रीड एंड फेयर। थैंक यू नीरव, थैंक यू सईसम। आई एम लुकिंग फॉर दोज आंसर्स। दिस टू ग्रीडी और टू फेयरफुल, एग्री। Actually the emotions trigger the behavior and behavior trigger the action, because of which investor never able to capture the investment return. And my friends, can you say how we can manage those emotion of the investor? ऐसा क्या करें कि वो जो इन्वेस्टर का इमोशन उसको हम कहीं ना कहीं कंट्रोल कर सकें, वेदर कंट्रोल और उसको हम डायरेक्शन दे सके। व्हाट वी कैन डू to give a direction to those emotion? जब मार्केट में लाइक मार्च टू 2020 में लोगों का फियर ट्रिगर किया था, 21 में लोगों का इन्वेस्टर की ग्रीड को ट्रिगर किया। सो व्हाट वी कैन डू टू मैनेज दोज इन्वेस्टर दोज इमोशंस? दोस्तों आप आंसर दीजिए चैट बॉक्स में एक या दो वर्ड में। उसके साथ ही मैं आपके साथ शेयर करता हूं कि कल यस्टरडे कल टीचर डे था एंड कल टीचर डे था और इन्वेस्टमेंट वर्ल्ड में एक पर्सनालिटी बहुत फेमस है एज ए टीचर, जिसको आप में हम सब बहुत रेस्पेक्ट की नजरों से देखते हैं। वी गिव लॉट ऑफ रेस्पेक्ट टू हिम एंड वी आल्सो फॉलो हिज कोट्स। उनकी लर्निंग बहुत फॉलो करते हैं। सचिन जी, हैंड होल्डिंग, नो गोल्स, डिफाइन प्रोसेस ऑफ इन्वेस्टिंग, राइट, आई एग्री विथ यू। इसके साथ भी और कुछ डीप सब्जेक्ट है जिसपे हम बात करेंगे आज। दोस्तों कल टीचर डे था। एक ऐसे टीचर इन्वेस्टमेंट वर्ल्ड में जिसको हम सब फॉलो करते हैं, हम सब उनके मैसेजेस को एक दूसरे को शेयर करते हैं, उनकी लर्निंग को, उनकी टीचिंग को उस टीचर को मैं भी बहुत डीपली फॉलो करता हूँ, बहुत डिसिप्लिन के साथ फॉलो करता हूँ। उनका नाम है वॉरेन बफेट। यस सेसम जी, वॉरेन बफेट। आप में से कितने लोग को उनकी एक टीचिंग याद है? आज मैं सिर्फ उनकी 2 टीचिंग पे बात करूंगा। एक उनकी जो टीचिंग थी जो बहुत ज्यादा सर्कुलेट होती है, दैट इज व्हेन एवरीवन इज ग्रीडी बी फियरफुल। जब सब डरे हुए हो, जब सब लालच में हो, तब डर जाना चाहिए। व्हेन एवरीवन इज ग्रीडी बी फियरफुल, एंड व्हेन एवरीवन इज फियरफुल देन वी मस्ट बी बिहेव लाइक अ ग्रीडी पर्सन। दिस मैसेज इज सर्कुलेट ऑल ओवर। मैं इसको बहुत अच्छे से फॉलो करता हूँ, बहुत अच्छे से इसको इन्वेस्टर के साथ फॉलो करने की कोशिश भी करता हूँ। इसके साथ ही वॉरेन बफेट ने अपने 2 रूल हमारे साथ शेयर किए थे। कैन एनीवन रिमेंबर दोस 2 रूल्स व्हिच वॉरेन बफेट शेयर विद अस, एंड वी आल्सो सर्कुलेट विद आवर फ्रेंड्स ऑन द रेगुलर बेसिस। रूल नंबर 1 मैं आपके साथ शेयर करता हूँ, नेवर लूज द मनी। ये रूल नंबर 1 है वॉरेन बफेट का, नेवर लूज द मनी। एंड द रूल नंबर 2, वॉरेन बफेट ये 2 रूल को बहुत स्ट्रिक्टली फॉलो करने के लिए बोलते हैं। डोंट लूज मनी, रूल नंबर 2। दोस्तों ये दोनों रूल्स के अंदर, नेवर लूज द मनी, फॉलो द रूल नंबर 1, विद दैट व्हेन एवरीवन इज ग्रीडी बी फियरफुल, व्हेन एवरीवन इज फियरफुल बी ग्रीडी। इन दोनों के बीच में वन थिंग इज वेरी कॉमन, वॉरेन बफेट इज टॉकिंग अबाउट द इमोशंस। और इमोशन को मैनेज करने के लिए हम जो टूल यूज करते हैं, जो स्ट्रेटेजी यूज करते हैं, उसको बहुत, अगर लेट मी पुट इन दिस वे कि आज इस मार्केट में आपके हिसाब से कितना परसेंटेज ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट पोर्टफोलियो का, कितना परसेंटेज वी शुड इन्वेस्ट इन इक्विटी इन टुडे गिवन सिचुएशन? हाउ मच पार्ट ऑफ पोर्टफोलियो वी शुड इन्वेस्ट इन इक्विटी?
अजय जी पोल यूज कीजिए।
मैं प्रशांत से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूं, पोल काइंडली पोल रन करें। दोस्तों मैं आपके लिए पोल रन कर रहा हूं, काइंडली आंसर इन द पोल। 50, 30, what percentage of equity do you have in your client portfolio at present? आज मेरे क्लाइंट के पोर्टफोलियो में अगर 100 रुपया इन्वेस्टेड, 100 रुपीज इन्वेस्टमेंट माय क्लाइंट पोर्टफोलियो, हाउ मच आई विल पुट इनटू द इक्विटी? 0% in the equity, or 10% in the equity, 10 to 20%, or 20 to 30%, or 30 to 40%, or 50%? How much percentage of portfolio we should keep in the equity? Prashant, can you see the poll movement?
People are still filling it.
Okay.
So give them 30 seconds and then we can.
Yeah, just a 30 seconds time. You just kindly fill up the poll. We'll fill up the poll. I agree, Ajay ji, कि depend करता client to client, but still when we talk about the emotion and behavior, we use some strategies and tools through which we come to a calculation कि which sort of which standard sort of format we keep of the equity allocations. Prachi Gupta 75% into the equity, Sasisam 20-30%. Yeah. The results are in front of me. Nearly 44% voted for the 50% into the equity, 33% voted for 30 to 40% into equity, 50% 20 to 30%, 8% people voted for 10 to 20% into the equity. And everyone agree कि 0% equity कभी नहीं करना चाहिए, because that's called timing the market. दोस्तों जब हम इतना कुछ करते हैं, एसेट एलोकेशन करते हैं, इक्विटी एलोकेशन कम और ज्यादा करते हैं, स्टिल डू यू फील कि इट्स रियली टफ टू हैंडल द इमोशन ऑफ द क्लाइंट, और इट्स बिकम चैलेंजिंग टू हैंडल द इमोशन ऑफ द क्लाइंट? Still, when we reduce the equity in the portfolio of the client always come with another reason to get fearful or greedy. Why did you reduce the equity in my portfolio when market is going so high? How many of you really face this question? Ki you reduce the equity in my portfolio and market is going so high. So why did you reduce the equity in my portfolio? How many of you really get that question from your client? Yes, face many time. Yes. दोस्तों मैं भी बहुत फेस करता हूं इस तरह के क्वेश्चन. नाउ टू एड्रेस दिस क्यूरियोसिटी कि कैसे इस सिचुएशन को, इस क्वेश्चन को हम हैंडल कर सकते हैं, टुडे दिस सेशन इज ऑल अबाउट दैट. एंड दोस्तों ये जो सेशन है जिज्ञासा का, ये जो सेशन 3 है, 1, 2 और 3 जो सेशन है, दिस इज एंकर बाय डीएसपी म्यूचुअल फंड एंड एमएफ यूटिलिटी, एंड ऑल्सो दिस सेशन इज पावर्ड बाय मिस्टर बॉन्ड. दोस्तों आज का जो सेशन है, सेशन 3, इस पे हम जो आज बात करेंगे, जो आपकी जिज्ञासा क्यूरियोसिटी को एड्रेस करेंगे, वो है 10 intertwined reason why investment returns are not investor return. ऐसी 10 क्या चीजें जो आपस में एकदम जुड़ी हुई है, जिसके कारण इन्वेस्टमेंट रिटर्न्स आर नेवर बी सेम एज इन्वेस्टर रिटर्न. मिस्टर बॉन्ड आज इस टॉपिक पे बात करने वाले, हमें जिज्ञासा को मिटाने वाले हैं, और ऑल्सो वो इस बात पे भी फोकस करेंगे कि हाउ एसेट एलोकेशन एक्चुअली हेल्प अस टू कंट्रोल और गिव डायरेक्शन टू द इमोशन ऑफ आवर क्लाइंट्स. Let us everyone, let's welcome Mr. Bond on the platform. Can we do a welcome for Mr. Bond on the platform?
Good evening, Ajay ji.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you so much. कल एक टीचर्स डे था. To all my teachers, all my gurus, I am learning every single day. और मैंने कल एक ट्वीट किया था, और ये ट्वीट बहुत मायने रखता है, especially for today's conversation. For me, teacher is who shares his knowledge and experiences with others without any expectations. That's a very important aspect. कि teacher अपना knowledge, अपना experience share करते हैं without any expectations from the audience or from their students or whatever you want to call them. His only mission in life is to let others learn through his own mistakes. हमने जो खुद mistake करी है as teachers, we do not wish the others to repeat those mistakes. So life also is a big teacher, and some of the life lessons which are, as I've mentioned time and again in my social media interactions, as to 3 horror stories during the bull market period, and what does it teach us, all of us, so that we do not make the same mistakes and we can guide our investors on the right path. So with your permission, Ajay ji, I will start the presentation.
Yes.
10 intertwined reasons why investment returns are not investor returns. और ये intertwined इसीलिए है because ये overlapping है. कहीं ना कहीं वही 8 या 10 या 12 जो reasons हैं, वो कुछ ना कुछ करके वही हमारे एक अड़चन बन जाते हैं. They become like stumbling blocks in front of both the MFDs as well as investors also. The unfortunate part, and as you all rightly said, emotion manage करना बहुत ज़रूरी है to guide the investors to achieve the investment returns. And in that I will include myself and all the MFDs also, that we have to manage our own emotions also, because starting में हम investors at heart है, उसके बाद हम MFDs है. So naturally we need to control our own emotions also and not get carried away with the herd mentality of the investors. At the current juncture, I saw 44% saying 50% plus in equity. Whichever format I'm saying, आपका जो भी strategy है, let that strategy pan out and let that strategy make returns for the investors. तो कुछ तो discipline होनी चाहिए. कोई जो discipline नहीं रखेंगे, then it is like a hit and miss, कि कभी returns बन जाएंगे जो markets चल पड़ी तो, और कभी returns नहीं बनेंगे जो markets will go against us. But we must have some discipline, and that's what exactly asset allocation does for us. So let me start the presentation on why investment returns are not investor returns. I'm sure all of you can see the presentation. Ajay ji?
Yes.
Okay. Let me thank DSP Mutual Fund and MF Utilities to be our co-anchors. They have been very, very helpful and encouraging in making Jigyasa a big success. Jigyasa ka ye third session hai, but the kind of praise and kind of feedbacks which we have got, it really encourages us. So at the end of the session, we will do a opinion poll also as to what all different topics you wish me to conduct on, so that आपकी जितनी भी curiosity हो, जो जिज्ञासा हो, we can try and answer those जिज्ञासा and remove your जिज्ञासा. Curiosity जो आपकी है, उसको हम satisfy कर सके. I don't know how many of you recognize this gentleman. Can you type the name of this person? He's a legendary investor in the investment world globally. Can you type his name, please? I'm sure you can see the shadow also, but without seeing and looking at the shadow. And let's see what he had to say, and let's see where we are currently. Bull markets are born on pessimism. Bull markets का बर्थ जो होता है जब एवरीबडी इज एब्सोल्युटली पेसिमिस्टिक के मार्केट का कुछ नहीं हो सकता है, इकोनॉमी के कुछ नहीं हो सकता है, ये कोविड हो गया है, इसके बाद मार्केट कहीं नहीं जा सकती है, दिस इज ऑल ग्लूम एंड डूम काइंड ऑफ अ पीरियड एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. But the unfortunate part which the investors and the MFDs must realize is that bull markets are born on pessimism. They grow on skepticism. जब भी मार्केट चलना शुरू हो जाती है तभी हम थोड़ा सा डाउटफुल हो जाते हैं कि हमने जो सोचा था कि मार्केट नहीं चलने वाली है, इकोनॉमी नहीं चलने वाली है, वो चल पड़ी है कि नहीं चल पड़ी है. They mature on optimism and die on euphoria. According to me, we are absolutely in the euphoric stage. When will it die? I really have no idea, and I'm not even going to try to predict also कि markets कभी करेक्ट करेगी और करेक्ट करेगी तो नहीं करे, कभी कितनी करेगी. All that is not part of our advisory practice, and we should not even go there. As long as we are able to deliver returns to the investors and ensure that उनका प्रोटेक्शन भी करे, साथ साथ में मार्केट में पार्टिसिपेट भी करे, that is what we call risk adjusted returns in favor of the investors. And this gentleman is Sir John Templeton. काफ़ी मशहूर नाम है और काफ़ी बिग इन्वेस्टिंग कम्युनिटी के नामचीन है ये. इन्होंने ये जो बोला था इसको मैं रिपीट करूँगा एंड में आफ्टर दिस एंटायर सेशन इज़ ओवर, so that we understand what should we be doing as mutual fund distributors so that we can convert investment returns into investor returns also. These are the investment returns. हम दिखाते हैं 15 साल 20 साल 25 साल के जो रिटर्न्स के चार्ट्स दिखाते हैं, एक्सेल शीट दिखाते हैं, पॉइंट टू पॉइंट रिटर्न्स दिखाते हैं, रोलिंग रिटर्न्स दिखाते हैं. The unfortunate part is the same period में इन्वेस्टर के रिटर्न्स काफ़ी कम होते हैं, and that is because of the behavior gap. Behavior gap not only of the investors but also of the mutual fund distributors also, who get carried away and become part of the herd mentality of the investors. I have always said that herd mentality is the prerogative of investors. वो उनका हक है उसके herd mentality में रहने के लिए. But you and I, if you want to guide the herd, we have to be outside the herd to guide the herd. जो आप हर्ड के साथ जुड़े रहोगे तो आप भी उसी हर्ड मेंटालिटी में आगे चलते जाओगे विदाउट रियलाइजिंग दैट यू आर गोइंग इन द राइट डायरेक्शन और इन द रॉन्ग डायरेक्शन. आई टोल्ड यू अबाउट 3 केस स्टडीज, द हॉरर स्टोरीज ऑफ द बुल मार्केट, उसके बारे में हम डिस्कस करेंगे. और दीज स्टोरीज आर द वंस हु आर आवर टीचर्स. एज आई सेड, कल जो टीचर्स डे थे, one of our teachers is the experiences of the others. और ये जो experiences हम नहीं सीखेंगे और ये हम अपने investors को नहीं सिखाएंगे, then we will not do a good job as teachers ourselves or as students who needs to learn from others' mistakes. This is a case study of a total novice जो एकदम amateur investor था. उसने एक तुक्का लगाया है, $10,000 का उसने क्रिप्टो करेंसी खरीदी एट 20 सेंट्स पर क्रिप्टो करेंसी. इन अ एक्सट्रीमली शॉर्ट स्पैन ऑफ टाइम उसकी वैल्यू बन गई $1,75,000, जो 20 सेंट्स का उसका बन गया $3.5. इन अ वेरी शॉर्ट स्पैन ऑफ टाइम. $10,000 और $1,75,000 बहुत ज़्यादा मायने रखता है फॉर एनी रिटेल इन्वेस्टर, एंड दिस गाय वाज अ रिटेल इन्वेस्टर बाय द वे. उन्होंने ये प्रॉफिट बुकिंग नहीं करी यहाँ पर. ही वॉज वेटिंग फॉर दिस टू गो फर्दर अप एंड अप एंड अप, एंड एज यू कैन सी द चार्ट, फाइनली with very minuscule profit of 7,500 versus 1 lakh. It's not a minuscule profit, but कंपेरेड विद $1,75,000 के सामने आप कंपेयर करेंगे, you can imagine the anguish and the frustration of this investor जो $65,000 $1,65,000 प्रॉफिट पे बैठा हुआ था, उससे जो प्रॉफिट बुकिंग नहीं करी, he thought that this can only go one way up. All of a sudden it came crashing down and it remained at these levels for quite some time, so he had to book his profits at lower levels. $7,500 बना है, एक छोटे अमाउंट नहीं थी, but it's a huge frustration and a disappointment for an investor who could have made much bigger money. What is the reason? So now I will talk about the reason also. हम ये जो डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, तो एक एक स्लाइड के ऊपर एक रीज़न होएगा एज टू वाई इन्वेस्टमेंट रिटर्न इज़ नॉट इन्वेस्टर रिटर्न. एक दूसरा एग्जांपल आपको दे रहा हूँ. दिस इज़ रिलेटेड टू आवर म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री. हमने DSP टॉप 100 इक्विटी की इसमें एग्जांपल लिया है. मैंने DSP being our anchor, I'm going to take a lot of examples of the DSP schemes also. I could have taken, and I have taken some examples of Nifty 50 also and the Nifty indices also. हमने 10,000 रुपया पर मंथ इन्वेस्ट किया होता SIP में from 1st of April 2005 till 31st of December 2007. That 3,30,000 grew to 6,98,000, delivering 61.5% कैगर. हमने उनको बोला सिप करो, भूल जाओ. ही पुअर चैप कंटिन्यूड हिज सिप. वैल्यू एज ऑन 9th of March 2009 came crashing down to negative 2.27% over a period of 4 years from 2005 to 2009. उसको हमने समझाया था कि आप SIP करोगे तो आपके पैसे काफ़ी सेफ रहेंगे, but as you can see over 4 years also SIP delivered negative return. Something similar happened in the case of lump sum also. If you had invested 1 lakh rupee, it grew to 3,47,000 by 31st of December 2007, giving 57% CAGR. It came crashing down to 1,73,000, 14.88% CAGR. What is the reason? Why did we not capture the investment returns into the investor's portfolio? Reason number one is there was no profit booking or exit strategy. आपको प्लीज समझना चाहिए that every investor is like a player of तीन पत्ती. आपने तीन पत्ती खेली होगी. It's a cards game which is generally played during दिवाली फेस्टिवल. और उसमें जब भी हम 10,000 रुपया लेके जाते हैं और उसके ऊपर हम जो 5,000 रुपया बनाते हैं, that 5,000 rupees the player gives it to his spouse and says I want to only play with that 10,000 rupees. Investor's mindset is exactly like that. He loves to do profit booking and pocket the profits from time to time. But हमने कभी भी म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री ने कभी भी उसको ये नहीं सिखाया है, ये नहीं बताया है as to when should you do profit booking or when should you exit out of your existing portfolios. He needed say 7 lakh rupees for some of his goals, जिसके लिए उसने SIP चालू करी थी. As against that, we are only giving him 4 lakh rupees. Where will he fulfill that 3 lakh rupee gap? और जो 3 लाख का जो गैप है उनके गोल्स भरपाई करने के लिए, where will they fulfill that money from? Or where will they get that money from? Greed to make more profits. This investor thought that I can make more money. $1,75,000 is not enough for me. I want to make more and more money. I want to make $2,50,000. I want to make $3 lakh and so on and so forth. The way जब भी ये यूफोरिया क्रिएट होता है अंडर इन एनी एसेट क्लास, बी इट इन क्रिप्टो करेंसी, इक्विटी, डेट, हाउसिंग मार्केट, वेर एवर यू कैन थिंक ऑफ, जब भी ये यूफोरिया क्रिएट होता है देन द बेंचमार्क्स ऑफ द रिटर्न्स एक्सपेक्टेशंस जस्ट गो अप एंड अप एंड अप. हम ये नहीं समझते हैं सो दिस वाज व्हाट वाज माय गोल, आई हैव अचीव्ड दैट गोल एंड मच बियॉन्ड दैट गोल आई एम मेकिंग दैट मनी. This is the time to take some money off the table, off the books, अपना पॉकेट करो और आगे की जर्नी कंटिन्यू रखो. एंड ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस के नहीं, कहीं कुछ नहीं गलत हो सकता है. लेट दिस जर्नी कंटिन्यू. आई विल मेक मोर मनी बिकॉज आई नो द मार्केट. मैं बहुत स्टडी करता हूँ, गूगल में देखता हूँ, यूट्यूब में देखता हूँ वीडियोज़ वगैरह, मेरे को सब पता है. सो आई डोंट वॉन्ट टू लिसन टू एनीबडीज advice to say कि इसमें से exit करो. So I will continue, and this is what happens for those who are overconfident and they do not wish to listen to the others or wish to listen to any caution. दूसरा केस स्टडी है. This was a genius guy. We are talking of Isaac Newton, the physicist. उसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. And what did he do? He invested 13,000 pounds worth today's $2 million worth of money he invested. This is in 1700 की हम बात कर रहे हैं. In one of the stocks at that time. In a very short span of time, he made $20,000 on top of that $13,000 investment, which was equivalent to 200 month salary. उसने जो 13,000 डाला था उसका ऊपर उसने $20,000 बनाया, which was equivalent to his 200 month salary in those days. If $13,000 was worth 2 million, so you can imagine $20,000 was worth how much. वो तो निकल गए. उसके बाद उनके फ्रेंड्स ने इन्वेस्ट करना शुरू किया at higher and higher levels, and the market was going up only during this period as far as that stock was concerned. What did Isaac Newton do? At much higher level, he invested not only the original money, not only the profits, but over and above that, he put more money into that particular stock at a much higher level. And thereafter, as you can see from the chart, Newton had to exit at a huge loss, which was equivalent to today's value of 4 million. अब प्लीज़ याद रखिए, दिस इज़ ऑल बुल मार्केट हॉरर स्टोरी की बात कर रहे हैं, ये बेयर मार्केट की स्टोरी की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं. इट्स नॉट द क्वेश्चन वेयर ही इन्वेस्टेड व्हेन द मार्केट्स वाज करेक्टिंग एंड देन ही लॉस्ट मनी. This is the question where he had actually made money, but in spite of that, he continued to put higher and higher bets at higher and higher levels, and that's how he lost money by investing in raging bull markets. आज प्लीज़ याद रखिएगा आप कहाँ पर हो, किस वैल्यूएशन पे हो और कहाँ पर मार्केट्स जा रही है. Looking at the markets, you will definitely feel that you're missing out every day. But as long as you are in equity as an asset class, 30%, 40%, 50%, depending on your asset allocation, or in balance advantage fund, whichever ways you are doing your asset allocation, or through Mr. Bond strategy, which is in a conservative asset class, which is balance advantage fund, the rest would be aggressive, which is equity fund. If you are participating in this equity rally in whichever format, you should not have fear of missing out, FOMO. What is the learning? We are not content. First and foremost is that. Let me show you this again. Everybody is talking about, हमने जब भी exit किया था July 2020 to get out of equity and get into a balanced advantage fund category, because markets, by the way, have been in the expensive category in the red zone from July 2020 to even now. In spite of that, if you are in a balanced advantage fund category, you have made 35% annualized return. Pro cyclical करो, counter cyclical करो, average आपने 35% बनाया है. But what the investors wish to show us, or what the mutual fund distributors are willing to show me, sir, we could have earned 53%, we could have earned 75%, we could have earned 96% in small caps. But what is the mistake which they are making here? Because they are seeing this in bits and pieces. Investment is not to be seen in bits and pieces. Investment has to be seen as a long-term journey, as a continuous journey. And what is that continuous journey? Let me show that to you. So you will understand that you have not missed out at all. You have to be content with what you have received. More importantly, in this last 1.5 years, not a single soul on this planet would have imagined that they can actually start making money in this market, in the stock market. They would have only thought that यहाँ से तो market नीचे ही जाएगी, economy सब नीचे ही जाएगी, and they have gone, by the way, the fundamentally कुछ भी सही नहीं हो रहा था last 1.5 years or so. globally also and in domestic market also. But economy को बाजू में छोड़ के, because of the global liquidity pumping in and infusion of liquidity, printing of money by Fed, etc., markets have gone through the roof and you have participated. Now let me show to you the longer journey instead of looking at it in bits and pieces. People forget that when we recommended exit out of equity in July 2017, that was our exit out of equity. From July 2017 to March 20, we were in balanced advantage fund. What did we do? We protected the downside totally. Pro-cyclical, counter-cyclical, your 1 crore ki value thi 95 lakh rupees. As against that, those who showed me 96% returns in small cap, their value was 45 lakh rupees as on 23rd of March 2020. Their value was 61 lakh rupees in mid cap and their value was 79 lakh rupees in large cap Nifty 50. ये सब लोग भूल जाते, very short term memory. उसके बाद let us continue the journey. Let's assume that you are only in balance advantage fund. You were not part of the smart solutions of Mr. Bond. But इसी को journey को हम आगे खींचते हैं. Because the markets have gone through the roof from 23rd March to now, Nifty 50 की value बन गई है 1 crore 75 lakhs. Nifty mid cap is 1 crore 56 lakhs. एंड जो सबसे ज़्यादा जंप किया था 96% का जंप जो दिखा रहे थे लोग, हैज़ ओनली ग्रोन टू 1 crore 36 lakhs. As against that, if you were still in the balance advantage fund category, your value was somewhere around 1 crore 60 lakhs, delivering somewhere around 12% return. As against 14.88 is the highest, but as you can see, a 12% CAGR equal or better than your small cap and mid cap category and even your multi cap category. ये आप पूरी तरह से भूल रहे हो, but you want to only see that markets have delivered so much returns or we missed out. You have not missed out at all. Now let me show you the results. If you were in smart solutions from 1st July 2017, we exited out of equity, we entered equity in March 2020, we exited again in July 2020. What is the current situation? Current situation, 1 crore 65 lakhs in Nifty 50, 1 crore 63 lakhs in mid cap, better than 1 crore 56 lakhs, and 1 crore 67 lakhs in small caps, far better than 1 crore 36 lakhs. When you start chasing returns, and that is exactly what's going to happen with the investors currently, 1 year रिटर्न देख के वो स्मॉल कैप में और मिड कैप में डालने का आपको इंसिस्ट करेंगे. आई वॉन्ट टू ओनली इन्वेस्ट इन स्मॉल कैप एंड मिड कैप. Looking at that last 1 year's performance, something similar happened in 2017 also. Do not get carried away what the investors are asking you to do. Apply logic and common sense so that you guide them on the right path based on the market valuations. What is the reason number 2? We are not content. हमने जो पैसा बनाया है, बना रहे हैं, we are not content. You want to look at what others are making. Looking at investments in bits and pieces instead of as a whole journey. Sir, so small cap has delivered 96%, your BAF has only delivered 48%. But have you seen the overall long-term journey and shown them the results? You cannot take this in bits and pieces and say it's a continuous long-term journey which these investments are made for. Another reason, do not look back after profit booking. आपने प्रॉफिट बुकिंग कर लिया है, पीछे मत देखो. एज लॉन्ग एज यू आर पार्टिसिपेटिंग, आप जो डेट में होते तो नेचुरली योर इन्वेस्टर्स विल क्वेश्चन यू बिकॉज देयर यू वर ओनली अर्निंग 3 or 4% रिटर्न. But if you are in a balanced advantage fund category which has part, if markets have delivered 50% Nifty, this has still delivered 25-30% in balanced advantage fund. But on a long term basis, from July to now, 2017 to now, our strategies have outperformed this buy and hold also. Be content with what you have earned, which we are never content. Do not bother what others are making. The unfortunate part is, March 2020 जब भी correction हुआ था, most of the investors have exited, stayed in liquid, not in balanced advantage fund, and they were waiting for correction to happen, which never happened. So half of the audience who was talking about cribbing and crying about it, कि others are making money, we are not making money, naturally they have not participated because they have gone into debt. And the others who are boasting about making money are also part of that same category, but they are only showing us the paper profits which they have not participated at all. Fear of missing out. We are missing out on the current rally, and that's the reason why I wish to invest currently at whatever levels, NFOs, IPOs, जो भी आएगा सब में हम invest करेंगे, because we want to participate in the rally which is happening in the equity markets. And this gentleman, Isaac Newton, thought he was a genius. Instead of understanding ये तो luck था उनका, it was not his skill, not his genius which made money, it was his luck that the markets went up. After he booked his profit also, markets went up and then it crashed thereafter. So do not think this is your, आपका वो जन्म सिद्ध हक नहीं है. Markets will have its ups and downs. This is not your skill, this is not your genius, this is your luck that the markets have done well thanks to the liquidity driven market currently. जब भी Fed liquidity का टैप बंद कर देगा तभी जो करेक्शन आएगा और तभी जो पेन इन्वेस्टर्स को भुगतना पड़ेगा, you and I will not be able to even see it. Please keep that in mind. Case study 3, horror story again in a bull market. This is during 99-2000 जब भी टेक का जो बस्ट हुआ था, जो हम बोल रहे हैं ना टेक 2000 का जो आपका टेक बस्ट जो स्टोरी हो रही है उसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. One investor who was extremely foresighted and a very seasoned investor who went against the market when the tech markets were going up, he went short on tech stocks to the tune of $200 million. This was somewhere in 99 beginning. The unfortunate part is the markets went one way up. जब भी ये एक जो मेल्टअप रैली जो एंड वाली मेल्टअप रैली होती है वो वन वे 90 डिग्री ऊपर जाती है, दैट्स व्हेन एवरीबडी गेट्स शेकन अप कि हम रह गए. ये जो मेल्टअप रैली की जो बात चल रही है, एंड ड्यूरिंग दिस पीरियड बिकॉज द मार्केट स्टिल कंटिन्यू टू गो अप एंड अप एंड अप, ही हैड डाउट कि मैंने जो ये शॉर्ट किया वो गलत किया. विथ $600 million वर्थ ऑफ लॉस ही गॉट आउट ऑफ दैट पोजिशन of going short in the tech market. As you can see, from there on also the market still went up to touch a new high in 2000. या तो आप अपनी स्टडी रिसर्च में बिलीफ रखो and do not go against the trend. As इन्होंने पहले तो ट्रेंड के सामने जाने की कोशिश करी. If he had gone against the trend, then he had to have belief कि I am going to continue my short position for longer period of time. If not, then he should not have gone short. But at this level, when he started having doubt and fear of missing out, he put long position, buy किया. $6 billion worth of tech stocks is what he bought at that level when the markets were at all-time peak on the tech side. And thereafter, all of us know what happened to the tech bust. And he got out and he lost $3 billion in this bull market of tech, in spite of his call of going short on tech, which was 100% right. Maybe a little ahead of the time, but he had gone short. He could have continued to hold on to it and he should have continued to believe in what he had researched and done. Something similar is happening currently also. When one tries to go, so what is the reason number 3? Fear of missing out. When one tries to go against the trend and the trend continues against you, self-doubt during such periods. These are all intertwined. आप देख सकते हैं कि कहीं ना कहीं फोमो आएगा, कहीं ना कहीं self-doubt आएगा, कहीं ना कहीं thinking that not convinced about your own strategies, etc. So these are all intertwined reasons why investment returns are not investor returns. Gives you FOMO, makes you take bets at higher and higher levels, and not learning from past mistakes. The unfortunate part is that you're not learning from your past mistakes. These are the 3 horror stories which I have shared with you, which are teachers for us on a teacher's day. If we do not learn from the past mistakes of these teachers and their experiences, then I don't think we will be able to guide our investors on the right path. This is my quotable quote. In life and equity markets, there is always that next bus. If you have missed one, जो लोगों को सोच रहे हैं कि we have missed the rally in the current market, there is always that next bus, either through asset allocation, dynamic asset allocation fund, Mr. Bond's smart solution strategies, whichever ways you wish to approach or invest. But please do not hurry, do not have fear of missing out at such levels. You will always burn your fingers, and investors will never spare us. रीज़न नंबर 4, ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस. अभी ये मार्केट चल पड़ी है तो हम किधर भी किसी में भी इन्वेस्ट करेंगे, IPOs, NFOs, they are making money. सेल्फ एट्रीब्यूशन बायस और ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस स्टेम्स फ्रॉम ग्रीड. मैंने ये NFO में डाला, जोमेटो के NFO में डाला, पैसा बन गया. मैंने ये NFO में डाला, पैसा IPO में डाला, पैसा बन गया, एंड सो ऑन सो फोर्थ. ऐसे करके जब भी ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस हो जाता है, एंड दिस इज एंड दे विल थिंक दैट ऑल द पॉजिटिव आउटकम्स आर बिकॉज ऑफ देयर ओन स्किल, कि ये जो मैं कर रहा हूँ और ये जो मैं पैसा बना रहा हूँ इज बिकॉज आई अंडरस्टैंड द मार्केट्स, it is my skill, it is my research, that's the reason why I am making money. Negative outcomes जो हो गया by chance, then they will start blaming the others, they will start blaming the advisors कि आपने मेरे को क्यों नहीं रोका. You should have told me not to invest at these current levels. You should have guided me, you should have cautioned me, etc. But जो devil's advocate play करने की हम कोशिश करते हैं, currently we are advocating asset allocation, currently we are advocating balance advantage fund, and so on and so forth. वो जो investors सुनने को तैयार नहीं है, they will start blaming us when the markets will go against them. This is what we call self attribution bias. This is reason number 4. Reason number 5, not respecting market signals. Equity markets are giving us signals on a daily basis. Market cap to GDP, price to earning, price to book ratio, dividend yield, ये जितने भी metrics आप देख लो, on all metrics, either globally or in the Indian context, we are extremely expensive. दूसरा narrative शुरू हो गया था, because you are at 0% interest rate, naturally price to earnings will be overstretched. पर कितना stretch करके आप उसमें invest कर सकोगे? We tend to ignore these signals. 80% of the investors invest in the red zone and only 1% invest in the green zone, which is the cheap valuation zone. जब भी market valuations are the cheapest, there is nobody to invest, because तब तक वो लोग हिल चुके होते हैं correction की वजह से. They don't have money to invest, they don't have the guts to invest. But that's the ideal time to invest, and that can only happen if you are able to guide them. And that's one of the major reasons why investors are buying high and selling low. That's one of the major reasons why investment returns are not investor returns. I have shared this data earlier also. I am sure all of you have seen this data. In the green zone, कभी भी आपने 2000 से 2021 तक में कभी भी invest किया Nifty 50 में, held it for 5 years thereafter, the minimum return was 10.38% and average return of 26%. Yellow zone में minimum return came down to 4% and average return to 14%. And in the red zone, minimum return was negative 2.3% over 5 years and average return was only 7.86%. 80% investors, as I said, invest in the red zone, and that's the reason their investment experiences are never good. All of us as advisors should concentrate on giving a better investor experience rather than chasing investment returns. Let me share this also with you. Timing entries are as important as exits. We have been told long term should be 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. पहले तो हमको बोला गया है 3 to 5 years is long term. I am saying you cannot define long term in terms of number of years. Long term can be defined as to which zone did you invest in. If you invested in the green zone, long term can be as long as 1 year only. बट इफ यू इन्वेस्टेड इन द रेड जोन देन द लॉन्ग टर्म 10 साल भी आप पकड़ के रखोगे फिर भी आपको डिसेंट रिटर्न्स नहीं मिलेंगे. एंड दिस इज दैट एग्जांपल. If you had invested on 1st of January 2008, this is an example of DSP Flexi Cap, which is one of the oldest schemes in the DSP basket. उनको वो जो बोलते हैं old fund offering versus new fund offering, that is the campaign which they are running right now. ये जो old fund offering which is going to complete 25 years next year, if you had invested on 1st of January 2008 till 31st December 2018, which is 10 long years, the returns have been only 8% because you invested in the red zone. Now the same scheme, if you had invested in the green zone when markets had corrected 1st of March 2009 till 1st of October 2010, 19 months में 1 crore was worth 2.52 crores. आपने 10 साल पकड़ के रखा, उसकी value is less than the investment made in the green zone and held only for 19 months. Now the same investment which you had done it in the green zone till the next 10 years, the value has grown to 4.98 crores, delivering 14.44 crores. Look at the difference. एक साल के फर्क में in 10-year period 2.36 crore versus 4.99 crores. Should you or should you not time the markets of entries as well as exits? Something similar, आपने जो रेड जोन में इन्वेस्ट किया होता 2007 में, 2010 में, 2017 में, your next 3 years, 5 years, 7 years and 10 years returns are sub 7% returns. जब भी ये देखेंगे investors अपने portfolio में, will you blame them to exit saying that I would have done better in a fixed deposit, I would have done better in a tax-free bond, or I would have done better in even a debt scheme? Naturally not. But because we are not guided them correctly by saying that invest at any levels, which is a wrong narrative according to me, as against that if they had invested it when the markets were in the green zone, the next 3 years, 5 years, 7 years and 10-year returns were almost 14 to 15% CAGR. Double digit returns थे, which is what is expected out of equity as an asset class. आपको investment returns को investor return बनाना है तो आपका टाइमिंग ऑफ एंट्री एंड टाइमिंग ऑफ एग्जिट्स आर एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट. रीजन नंबर 6, फियर. फियर स्टेम्स फ्रॉम रीसेंसी बायस. रीसेंसी बायस का मतलब ये है इन्वेस्टर के दिमाग में वो रहता है विच हैज हैपेंड रिसेंटली. इफ द मार्केट्स हैव करेक्टेड रिसेंटली देन दे विल not like to invest in that particular asset class. Let's assume the market had corrected in March 2020, nobody wanted to invest in equity as an asset class because of that recency bias कि अभी तो 40% markets गिरा है, I don't think I want to invest in that asset class. It also stems from herd mentality because सब लोग निकल रहे हैं, मैं भी निकलूँगा, मेरे को इस market में नहीं रहना है. They are not applying their common sense and logic at such times. And this is an outcome of not respecting market signals again. If they were respecting market signals, automatically in March 2020 they would be sitting on 70 or 80% in cash, which should be the current allocation of cash at the current juncture. Don't get carried away with that 50% plus kind of a narrative because कहीं ना कहीं जब ये market correct करेगी, it will come to haunt us. From 23rd of March 2020, which was the best valuation possible, because of the recency bias, investors did not participate in this. Let me be very, very upfront in stating that investors have not participated in this. Either they have exited at that time, or they have been sitting in cash, or they have been sitting on those losses, etc. उसकी वजह से उन्होंने ये मार्केट में पार्टिसिपेट नहीं किया है. हम कुछ भी दिखाए या इन्वेस्टमेंट रिटर्न्स जो दिखा रहा हूँ यहाँ पर, दे आर नॉट इन्वेस्टर रिटर्न्स बिकॉज दे हैव नॉट इन्वेस्टेड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट रीसेंसी बायस. लैक ऑफ पेशेंस, इम्पेशेंस एट लैक ऑफ मेकिंग क्विक रिटर्न्स. हमने जब भी वैल्यू एसटीपी रेकमेंड करी थी, इट्स अ 5-year strategy. You cannot make money overnight. Because it's a 5-year strategy and money is getting transferred from liquid or equity saving into balance advantage fund currently in the red zone or in the yellow zone 3x or in the green zone 5x or 100x. Naturally, it takes time for this strategy to mature and deliver returns. But because you wish to make quick returns, because of the fear of missing out, etc., there is lack of patience, and one starts to chase returns. Remember, downfall in their wealth creation will start. Strategies, as I said, take time to fructify, mature and deliver. It cannot happen overnight. This again stems from FOMO, all intertwined. आप देख सकते हैं एक दूसरे से जुड़े हुए हैं. Exiting already started strategy, as I said, value STP जिसने शुरू करी होगी, many of them have had doubts, बंद कर दिया, नहीं हमको immediately एक one go डालना है और पैसा जल्दी बनाना है. आगे जाके पता चलेगा पैसा बनेगा या पैसा गवाएंगे. Finally, they become drivers on a toll naka. So they think that they have wish to get out of certain strategy. They wish to get into equity as an asset class at this stage. Markets correct करेगी. उसके बाद वो सोचेंगे नहीं नहीं ये तो हमने गलती कर दी, यहाँ से निकल के हम डेट में चले जाएंगे, डेट से निकल के इक्विटी गोल्ड में चले जाएंगे, ऐसे घूमते रहेंगे. And they will become like drivers on a toll naka, making money nowhere. Lack of discipline. Impatience creates lack of discipline. Because you are impatient, you do not wish to follow that discipline which you are supposed to follow, and you stop halfway. Takes the investor farther away from their goals. Also a result of not able to control emotions, emotion of greed. ये जो आपको greed है, जो fear of missing out है, जो overconfidence है of making money in the current market, etc., is taking you away and farther from the goals as and when the markets will correct. Many SIPs were discontinued not only when they became negative, but even during the 2010 to 2013 when markets delivered no returns, lot of people stopped their discipline of investing in a SIP format, and let me share that data with you. From 2010 to 2013, as I said, markets had delivered practically no return. During this period, if you had done a flexi cap, DSP flexi cap ने आपने SIP करी होती 10,000 rupees per month, the 3,60,000 delivered negative 3% return. Lot of SIPs were discontinued at this stage, but if that investor would have continued and understood what is SIP all about, the current value of that SIP of 13,20,000 would have fetched him 17% CAGR from 2010 to 2021 over 11 long years. So that 13,20,000 could have grown to 35 lakh rupees. How do you explain all this to the investors? उनको समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि discipline रखिए, fear of missing out मत रखिए. Do not become impatient at such points in time because it takes time for you to make money. There will be periods of sideways correction in the sense markets will go nowhere. आपको कोई returns नहीं मिलेंगे, but in spite of that, you will have to continue on your journey. Herd mentality is number 9 reason why investment returns are not investor returns, and let me explain with a few examples. Blindly following the herd, not applying common sense and logic at such times. Current rush to invest in IPOs and NFOs is a classic example of following the herd. People forget that the past returns based on which you are investing in the current schemes or NFOs or IPOs, etc., past returns are returns of the investors who had invested earlier. वो आपके returns नहीं हैं. आपकी returns की journey शुरू होएगी जब भी आप आज इन्वेस्ट करोगे. आज का माहौल जो है, today's zone is red zone. I have shown you in the next 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. If you have invested in the red zone, your returns have been sub 7% so far. आगे जाके क्या होएगा? Only God will tell us. Classic example of this herd mentality is that हमने liquid fund से पैसा निकाला था when Lehman Brothers crisis happened, जहाँ इंडियन म्यूचुअल फंड को कोई लेना नहीं देना नहीं था. हमने प्रेशर डाल के लिक्विड फंड्स में से पैसा निकालना शुरू कर दिया जहां सीडी पोर्टफोलियो था, और उसको फंड मैनेजर हैड टू सेल इट एट अ ह्यूज डिस्काउंट एट लॉसेस एक्सेट्रा टू जस्ट गिव द मनी बैक टू इन्वेस्टर्स. और हमने ये भी लॉजिक नहीं अप्लाई किया कि जो सीडी पोर्टफोलियो था विच वॉज अ बैंक सीडी पोर्टफोलियो, उसमें से हमने इन्वेस्टर का पैसा निकाला और उसी बैंक में हमने फिक्स डिपॉजिट करवाई विथ अ लॉस इन दैट लिक्विड फंड पोर्टफोलियो. Exiting income fund schemes in 2013 when interest rates went up, तभी I remember writing an article, think logically, do not panic, stay calm. मैंने ये आर्टिकल लिखा था कि एट दैट टाइम रिडम्पशन नहीं करना है, जो भी लॉस होना था हो चुका था. 7% इंटरेस्ट रेट वेंट अप टू 9%. तभी मैंने बोला कि आप इस दौरान पे इन्वेस्ट कीजिए. This is not the time to exit when the entire industry was talking of exiting out of income fund schemes. So do not follow the herd. थोड़ा सा think back, take a step back, think logically, apply some common sense and then guide your investors. Number 10, frequent portfolio reviews. मेरे को हर 7 दिन, हर 15 days, हर 1 month, हर 6 months I want to review my portfolio. Unnecessarily it takes you to do unnecessary action bias जो बोलते हैं. So ये जो आप देख रहे हैं 2017 तक का रिटर्न था from 2016 to 17 in Nifty 50 mid cap and small cap. ये देखने के बाद investors started investing in mid cap and small cap और उसके बाद till 2020 as you can see small cap and mid cap delivered negative returns, again drivers on a toll naka. Frequent portfolio review leads to unnecessary action bias. मैं कभी भी अपने investors के साथ portfolio share नहीं करता हूँ on a regular basis. We are following certain strategy. I have told them it will take some time to fructify. Do not ask me questions again and again. कुछ गलत जाएगा, I will only communicate to you. So we do not have a strategy of delivering returns, the portfolio returns on a monthly, 3 monthly, 6 monthly basis. Every 12 months, 18 months कोई पूछता है तभी हम देते हैं. Otherwise that portfolio review करते रहेंगे. Then unnecessary action bias both from you and your investors also. This will make them chase returns as I have explained to you in the earlier slide. Looking at the past performance of small cap, mid cap, they would have invested. And thereafter the story was over and then small cap and mid caps delivered negative returns. Something similar is going to happen as we speak. लोगों ने देखा है small caps had delivered 100% return from 2020 to now. They will all insist on investing in small caps. Finally, they will only erode wealth versus creating wealth. One of the main reasons why investment returns are not investor returns. अभी ये सब में से सीख हमको क्या मिली है, कंक्लूजन क्या है, एंड व्हाई एंड हाउ विल यू मैनेज दैट द इन्वेस्टर्स गेट द इन्वेस्टमेंट रिटर्न्स. मोस्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट शुड बी मेड ड्यूरिंग पेसिमिज्म एंड स्केप्टिसिज्म स्टेज, जो सबसे पहली स्लाइड मैंने शुरू करी थी. रिस्क रिवॉर्ड एसिमेट्री इज मच ग्रेटर एट दिस फेज. होल्ड दिस इन्वेस्टमेंट टिल यूफोरिक स्टेज. जब भी आप ग्रीन जोन आओगे, इट्स द बर्थ ऑफ पेसिमिज्म. जब भी किसी को इन्वेस्ट नहीं करना, बट आप जो इन्वेस्ट करवाओगे, यू कैन होल्ड दैट इन्वेस्टमेंट टिल द यूफोरिक स्टेज. You may wish to invest more during optimism stage, which is the yellow stage. Hold these investments till the euphoric stage, and in the euphoric stage, which is the current stage, most investments should be exited during euphoric stage. Risk reward asymmetry is much lower at this stage. When you are exiting, ensure that you do not exit to get into a dead product, because ये जो market irrational रहेगी, एक साल में से irrational है, then you will earn only 3-4%, but at least be in balance. आप एक benchmark रखिए कि at least 30% of my portfolio, investors portfolio, should always be in equity as an asset class, and most of the balance advantage fund category, as you know, the minimum equity is 30% and maximum can be 80 or 100. So that is the strategy which you should adopt, and if you wish to have that investment returns reflecting in your investor returns, so ये जो मैंने 10 reasons दिए हैं उसको हमको कंट्रोल करना पड़ेगा, उनके इमोशंस को कंट्रोल करने पड़ेंगे, हमारे इमोशंस को कंट्रोल करने पड़ेंगे, एंड दिस ग्रीन येलो एंड रेड जोन के हिसाब से जो आप चलेंगे, डेफिनेटली at some point in time you may underperform, some point in time you will outperform, but a longer journey Our concentration is a longer journey, converting short-term investors to long-term investors, and our job should be to give them a smoother and a much better investment experience rather than ups in the euphoric markets and total downs in the bearish markets and so on and so forth. Finally, remember, experience can be a substitute for knowledge. Experience can be आपके पास कोई डिग्री नहीं है बट एक्सपीरियंस बहुत है. एक्सपीरियंस कैन बी अ सब्सटीट्यूट फॉर नॉलेज, बट ओनली नॉलेज कैन नॉट बी अ सब्सटीट्यूट फॉर एक्सपीरियंस. और हम लोग काफ़ी सालों से, आई एम इन दिस लाइन फॉर द लास्ट 36 years, आई हैव सीन द पेन एंड एंग्विश ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर्स व्हेन द मार्केट्स टर्न अगेंस्ट देम. So that's the reason why I prefer to have a downside protection first and being in the right asset class at right valuation as a strategy. If you have any queries on this today's presentation, you can write to me at sunil@mrbond.in. ये मेरा third book is going to be published very soon. Think Hatke, all the Think Hatke ideas of Mr. Bond, including the unlearns to relearns, including smart solutions of Mr. Bond, everything will be part and parcel of this book. These two books are already available on amazon.in, Pearls of Financial Wisdom and Make Your Destination a Journey to Remember. You can place the order there. They're both important books for any mutual fund practitioner stroke investor also. I am available on Twitter, YouTube. My Twitter handle, YouTube handle, etc. is I am Mr. Bond, and this is our website www.mrbond.in. Finally, mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully. Ajay ji.
थैंक यू सो मच सर. दोस्तों मैं एक सीक्रेट शेयर करना चाहता हूँ. टीचर मैंने एक वर्ड किया, वॉरेन बफेट. द मेन टीचर ऑफ माई इज मिस्टर सुनील जयवरी, जिन्होंने मुझे 5 से 6 साल पहले एक्चुअल एसेट एलोकेशन का कंसेप्ट क्या होता है वो सिखाया था. और वहां से अभी तक आई एम ऑलवेज फॉलोइंग द एसेट एलोकेशन वेरी स्मूथली. आई स्टिल रिमेंबर दोज नाइट्स इन 2017 व्हेन आई रिड्यूस्ड द इक्विटी एंड मार्केट आर गोइंग हाई एंड हाई. On that moment, Mr. Bond is there to hold my hand and make me understand that you are always not right. So follow your discipline, not lose your patience. With that, Tata, good evening, bye-bye. See you on 20th September.
See you on 8th first and then on 20th.
Yes.
Thank you Ajay ji.
Thank you so much.
Good night. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.